in essence just a panel about how to address risk in projects. And we were trying to make it kind of relevant to the shipping and project forwarding industry. So great discussion with some great people on the panel, ranging from shipper, forwarder, to we even had an engineer from McDermott, which was fantastic. So good discussion, lots of great ideas. So yeah, it was really just around this idea of how do we mitigate risks in the movement of goods or the movement of materials to and from work sites in a project.
For me, the top two things that came to my mind is, my advice to everybody is not to think about risk as something you can move to your subcontractor. When you move it, actually you transfer the ownership of the risk to somebody else. You are not really moving totally and you eliminate it. So be careful about, contractually moving the risk to your subcontracting and not managing this. I'm okay with moving the risk to your subcontractor, but you have to manage it correctly, because your subcontractor can fail and the consequences, you will live with that.
The biggest advice is have an open mind. Conditions change, people change, environment change. Keep an open mind. Don't rely on 100% on your past experience. Always allow a factor for my old friend Murphy. I'm sure you know Murphy's Law. Always allow for Murphy. So we always plan for the worst, expect the best, and hope to land somewhere in between.
Make the discussion as basic as, I think we overcomplicate things an awful lot in logistics, and really it's just getting down to some basic fundamentals, which is, what came out of the discussion is communication. It sounds very generic, but it's often forgotten. Just good communication between all the stakeholders in a project, whether it's the forwarder, the shipper, and open and honest dialogue about schedule constraints. What's important to one stakeholder might not be so important to another, but if you share those issues and problems, you'll have a much more successful project.
We spoke, me and my colleagues, too much about communication and the need to be really active as a human being, and the over-engineering and the over-use of the IT nowadays on our life, and trying to rely really on IT for everything. I'm totally against people sitting on their corners and sending emails to everybody, and they expect the problem to be resolved based on an email. So my advice to everybody, interact, communicate, explain the problem, pick up the phone, and even face-to-face if it's possible, if it's on the proximity of your reach, to go and talk to people and try to resolve and to explain what's the problem and get to the bottom of that.
Rely on other people's opinion, form a committee, because a lot of people have different views, and you should always be open to analyzing a view, even if it might sound as ridiculous. Give it some thought. Sometimes you learn the most important factor from somebody that has never been in the business, and he comes up with an idea. And this is what it's a well-known syndrome, where when you get so involved in your business, you stop seeing the trees from the forest, or stop seeing the wood from the forest, and it all becomes as one. Whereas if you look at them individually, they can be different. And somebody looking from the outside in can give you an insight that has been staring at you in the face, and you say, how did I not see that all those years?
The devil is very much in the details. We had someone come up to me after the panel and tell me the story of last year. They were loading some cylinders on a vessel, and the design of the cylinders had not shown that there was a flange on the top to access the cylinders. So that 30 millimeters meant that they couldn't close the hatch covers on the vessel, and they had to load the cargo on deck instead. They got lucky, but that's a significant problem. The devil really is in the details. When I worked on the Centennial project, we had a situation where someone had forgot to order GETs. Now GET is a little metal piece that fits on the end of a grab for an earth-moving machine. It's a small, very low-tech, heavy metal piece. But without that, no excavation could be done, and the project was potentially delayed by over a month just because of 5 little pieces of metal. So the devil really is in the details, making sure that every small detail is taken care of, and you're looking at getting to site in time.